Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast focusing on meditation, the near death experience, and all things spiritual. Hello, this is Inspire Me with Jay. My name is Jay. My special guest today is Michael. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well, Jay. It's good to be here. I hope that I'm able to provide your listeners with some really good knowledge as we have a great conversation.
So, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I'm just a typical full-time life coach that gets to work from home, and I love it. So basically, what I do today is which is a far cry from where I've come from, is I basically sit at my desk and have conversations on Zoom with individuals where I help them just make better choices in life. And for me, it's a calling. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else.
How long have you been a life coach?
I've been coaching for about, I'm going to say 8 years. The time is a little, like a little gray. Before I got into coaching, originally I was going to be a therapist, and I was going to get my PhD in therapy. This was back before they had lesser counseling services. And I was in the graduate program, and I just sort of, like, a couple things happened in life, and I sort of lost direction and ended up working in finance for about 12 years, and I was making a ton of money. I hated it. And I quit my job when I was about 31, and I was thinking about becoming a monk at one point, and then I became a yoga teacher, and then I realized that my calling through that journey was to help people, and I didn't want to go back to graduate school to get my license in therapy. And I realized that with my master's in psychology, my background in yoga, and my background in Eastern religion, if I went and got a coaching degree certification, it would really help people. And so I did that when I was about 37, give or take, and took me another 4 or 5 years to really make coaching work. And, where it was a full-time living. And now it's just kind of like, I know what to do.
Mm-hmm. So, do you do like a lot of meditation too? And are you like a Buddhist?
I was what's called a Vaishnav, not a Buddhist. I do have a background in Buddhism. I do personally do about 10 to 20 minutes of meditation every day. If a client does ask me how to meditate, I will coach them on meditation, but it's not what I particularly focus on. And a lot of my clients, they're so wound up, and they're so just, and I think this is most people, and I only can speak about Americans. I only have about 2 international clients right now. So mostly it's Americans and Canadians. And we're just so overloaded with, wake up, kids, if we have kids, turn on the TV if we don't, get everybody ready, go to work, come home, turn on the TV, go to bed. And we just live in these constant states of overload that people really just kind of don't know how to live an intentional life. And all I really do is just teach people how to slow it down, breathe, acknowledge what they're experiencing, set goals, and then figure out why they're off track. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. It's just not that easy.
Did you study like a life coaching program with somebody, or?
I did 3 life coaching certifications. I did one with Tony Robbins. I did another one at the Mindfulness Coaching School, and then I did another one at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and Coaching. So I did those 3 certifications, and then I have a master's in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a licensed therapist.
Yeah, like I know a lot about Tony Robbins. I've done a lot of his programs and stuff. Was the nutrition focused on life coaching, getting people to eat healthier and things like that?
Surprisingly not. When I did the health coaching certification, I thought it was going to be all about diet and nutrition. because I was a yoga teacher and I thought it would work nicely with me being a yoga teacher. But what it really did focus on is what is called, they have in their methodology, they have what's called primary foods and secondary foods. Secondary foods is all about diet and exercise. Their primary foods is all about lifestyle and understanding your imbalances, whether they're emotional or psychological. They're all about how to live a more healthy life and to have success, not just in work, but in your personal life as well. I thought that was going to be not what the health coaching certification was about. But a lot of times when we have poor diet and poor exercise, it's because of our personal and professional lives are out of balance.
So when someone comes in to start life coaching with you, how do you usually start, and what is a session like? What is the program that
Great
you
question.
do with them?
So if you go on my website, there is always going to be, because it's how people understand coaching, I have 4 core coaching programs that says session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4, all the way up to session 11. These are all the standard, I guess, foundational coaching programs: goal setting, time management skills, how to have better balance and self-care, and have self-discovery, like who am I a good person, and how to live a better life. What I have found through the 8+ years to 10+ years of coaching, most people, when they sign up for coaching, where they want to learn how to set goals or have better time management, that's the symptoms, not the root. And so over the next course of my coaching, I developed other programs in terms of self-criticism, managing your emotions, having higher emotional intelligence, how to communicate better, how to let go of limiting beliefs and negative self-talk. And so when you sign up for coaching with me, everybody goes through the same process. The step 1 is you do what is called a discovery call. This is industry standard, where I, the coach, would have a conversation with you, the coachee, and I would ask you a series of questions that would hopefully open up to a conversation. It would start with the simple question of, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What is your life story? Give me your narrative. And then from there, we usually begin to have a conversation. If the conversation gets a little stale or struggles a little bit, I'll ask some other like standard coaching questions for establishing what we need to work on, like what goals would you like to do with coaching? What would be your success with coaching? And what have you already worked on? At the end of that, beginning of that discovery call, the next thing is you would take a life assessment quiz where you would rate your life on a scale of 1 to 10 in 9 key areas of life for me to see where your imbalances are. So at the end of that sort of open-ended conversation with some key coaching engagement questions and that life assessment quiz, we'll then go into stage 2 of every onboarding process. Everybody gets a free trial coaching session. For 1, because a lot of people don't know what coaching for is. 2, it allows me to build rapport with the person because I'm working with you online. This helps build a little bit better of a relationship. And we typically start with a visioning exercise of where your life is going to be when you're 90 years old. What do you want your life to look like? And through that visioning exercise, I begin to get a little bit better picture of what you want out of life versus who you are. At the end of those 2 stages, then if they want to continue and they sign up for regular or paid coaching, I will typically always start with goal setting, unless sometimes they're so out of balance. I'll wait to do goal setting after we clean up a little bit of the house first. And we'll either work on communication, or we'll do some fine basics of budgeting, or we'll work on some other sort of like mental and emotional imbalances through life skill techniques.
I spent several years of my life stressed, anxious, and depressed. I needed to find something that would make my life work. For me, that was meditation. With meditation, I found the peace of mind that I was looking for. I found the happiness. And I found a way to improve every area of my life, my emotional life, my spiritual life, my relationships. I was able to discover things about myself. I can give you the tools to meditate. I will walk you through the process and hold your hand. Whether you're a beginner to meditation who's never meditated, or whether you're someone who's tried meditation and it just never seemed to work, we can make it work. Meditation is something that everyone can do, and I can show you how. Check out my course on meditation. So, if you've ever taken like a Tony Robbins program, like Personal Power or Getting the Edge or different things, they do a lot of this. Is the difference between just like taking a Tony Robbins course, the CDs or online, versus like what you're doing is you're going to like hold someone's hand as they go through the process, and you're going to tailor it specifically to their needs. Is that right in terms of like the difference between just going to a life coach and or going through a general program like a Tony Robbins program?
I think both are powerful and both have validation, and you'll get good out of both. The difference between doing like Tony Robbins course or any coaching course versus working privately with a life coach is the life coach will give you the sounding board and see what areas that you're not seeing, right? Coaching is not advice. Coaching is not me telling you how to live. Coaching is not me telling you what to do. Anybody who does that, you should run away from as soon as possible. Someone up on stage is not a life coach telling you how to live your life. Coaching is about coaching. A good life coach will help you understand what you're saying and how that interpretation is applied to what you want to do with your life, and then figure out what the steps that you need to take to get there. It is not me telling you what you need to do. Yes, there are books that you should read. There are practices that I can give you. But ultimately, when you're working with a life coach, it's for you, the individual, to decide what is right and what is wrong. And anybody who doesn't give you that permission is not a life coach. They are something else. And that's a whole different conversation.
Mm-hmm. So is a life coach, in your estimation, more effective and quicker than like what you get with therapy? Because a lot of times you think of therapy, you sit around for years and years talking it out. Is a life coach more hands-on than a therapist?
Depends on the therapist, depends on the life coach. I've had good life coaches. I've had bad life coaches in my life. I've had good therapists. I've had bad therapists in my life. Therapy and coaching are not the same. A life coach can never be a therapist. A therapist can be a life coach. There's a distinction there that's very important. Coaching's for some, like I work with individuals who are in therapy alongside their therapist or separate from their therapist on coaching, but coaching will not replace someone who does need therapy. I have a client who I just started working with. We went through 3 sessions and a particular issue came up in our examination of what we were working on. And once she started talking about it, I went, that's beyond my scope. I'm not qualified to work on real trauma, real emotional, mental imbalances. You need to go see a therapist. And so her and I figured out where a therapist in her area was right for her. And then she began to find a therapist and started working with a therapist. As she was working with her therapist, we continued to work on other skills in life, like managing our finances, paying down our debt, setting some goals, exercising, going to the gym. But real psychological issues, coaches should not touch. A good coach will always say, that's beyond my scope.
Mm-hmm.
Depression, psychological disorders, psychosis, neurosis, These are not in the scope of coaching.
So you're sort of working more with sort of the average person who just wants to get ahead in life, who wants to go further and achieve their dreams. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, yes and no, because what is the average person? I have clients that are really successful in life financially, who have tons of money, making, worth $100 million, who have imbalances in their life that they're working on. I have other people I'm working with who have no money but have a great quality personal life that they're working on issues. Everybody has there is no definition of average, right? Everybody is unique, and everybody's definition of what average is to them. Some people think average is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in the suburbs. Other people think average is a travel trailer in Arizona, and some people think average is living in a major city, and some people think average is being an SVP of a major company, and other people think average is being a good homemaker. We all have that different definition. That coaching is not working with the average person. Coaching is working with somebody who isn't in need of therapy, but needs someone who can talk to them and help them work out things in their life and have a sounding board, and then teach them skills to figure it out on their own, whether it's meditation or journaling or goal setting or time management or learning how to be a better communicator, or having better boundaries, or being able to practice having a better understanding of your emotional intelligence or your 6 human needs psychology, and the list goes on and on. That's what a life coach does, right? Sometimes a session is, okay, I'm at work, and I have this problem. This is what's going on with my boss, and this is what I'm going on with my colleague. And life coach will strategize with the person on how to handle the situation. Another time, someone will be like, all right, I'm in a job I've been working at for 20 years and I feel stuck and I want to get a job promotion. And the life coach will help them strategize on what they need to do to get that job promotion. Other times, someone's like, hi, I'm doing really well in life financially and professionally, but I'm having trouble with my kids or my marriage. And a life coach will help them there, right? Those are the areas of what we do as a life coach. But we don't sit there and we don't talk about things like real psychological and emotional imbalances. That's what a therapist is for. But once again, a therapist can do what a life coach does. A life coach cannot do what a therapist does.
Mm-hmm. So do you sort of break it down into maybe like 5 areas? We've got person's physical health, emotional health, spiritual, relationship, and finances, and just kind of work within those 5 areas? Or how do you usually categorize a person's life?
Everybody's different, right? Every time I come across somebody, and I think this is one of the reasons why, as a life coach, I'm successful, because if you look at I think last year's data, the average life coach made $10,000 a year. I make way more than that. I own my own home. I have a car. I work full time. I don't do anything else. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm a life coach / yoga teacher / school teacher / like, this is all I do. And I live in a very affluent area. So when you try to put everybody in a box, it doesn't work, because everybody has different needs and different imbalances. So when I'm working with somebody, and let's say they're like, okay, I'm all over the place and I never seem to have any time for my life. I'm always late. I'm always struggling with my time. Yes, time management is a skill to learn, how to use a calendar to set your priorities, to understand the difference between a to-do list and a calendar. Those are all part of coaching, for sure. But at the same time, it's understanding your priorities. And so it's not part of time management. It's understanding what your priorities are, and understanding your priorities might be linked to either your emotional intelligence or how you communicate, because you don't know how to have good boundaries by saying no to people. So it never works in a straight line with anybody. Sometimes it's, oh, I want to work on my goals. And I start setting goals for them, and we start to come up with a strategy. And after 3 or 4 sessions, I'll ask them, well, why aren't you working on the things we talked about? And then it will come up that they're struggling with their finances. So now we got to switch gears and we got to go there. And then other times it will be some other issue. So yes, you can try to put the coaching in 5 categories, but it never works like that. There's always going to be the outlier. Sometimes it's your relationship. So as a life coach, you have to, just like if you were a doctor or a therapist, you have to constantly be getting certifications and studying. If you go to my website, I have like 30 different certifications on different subtopics. That's why I'm successful. You have to constantly learn.
Mm-hmm. Do you use techniques like NLP?
I have. It's not really my forte. I think it works. People love it. I don't really do a lot of NLP. I don't know. There's no reason why I don't. I just never really had put aside the time for training. It's on my bucket list to like do a certification in it, but I'm not certified in it. So when I'm not certified in it, I tend to not like to do things. So, but I'll do like EFT. I'll use a lot of EFT techniques.
What is the EFT?
Emotional freedom tapping type of stuff with therapy and coaching. I do that I'm trained in, but I've never done the NLP training. So I don't do NLP training. And 5 hours and a coaching certification, I'll use it a little bit, but it's not really like, I wouldn't say I'm an NLP coach.
Mm-hmm. So how long do you usually work with clients? What's like your average?
Well, I don't do, unlike a lot of coaches, I don't do contracts. That's the other reason why I think I'm successful. So if someone signs up for me, sometimes I have clients that come in, I work with them for 4 sessions, we get what they need done, and then they're bounced and they're gone. Other clients I've been seeing for 5, 6, 7 years. I have doctors and lawyers and housewives and house husbands who are great at life, and then they'll send me a text message and say, hey, this is what's going on. I need 4 sessions. And we'll just do 4 sessions, work through whatever work they're working for, and then they're gone. Typically, when someone starts with coaching, I'll typically see them twice a month, anywhere from 6 months to a year, depending on what's right for them. And then they're usually good. The problem is a lot of times people like, well, it's not really a problem. The good thing for me, people just like to continue after that. And so, because they'll want to start working on other areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a year, it's usually 6 months to a year, but they want to end early, they can. They want to go longer, they can. I don't do packages. I don't do contracts. I treat it like if you're going to see a doctor or a therapist. Your session's on Monday, you pay for your Monday session. You're not paying 6 months in advance, because what I found when I did programs, so that's what the industry teaches you to do. Sell a 12-week course or a 12-session course. It's like the industry standard. What happens is someone signs up and they do 3 sessions and then they're gone. And people are like, yeah, but you're going to then make more money per client. And to me, that's stealing. If it's not the right fit for me, swaha. If I'm not the right fit for somebody, no big deal. That's why it's like you stay for as long as you need to stay, and you end whenever you need, no strings attached.
Well, so it sounds like you're more about actually helping people and transforming their life rather than just, getting a large payment up front and, well, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You actually want to get results.
That's why I do it that way.
Yeah.
I saw the other way, and when I was struggling with coaching and I was hiring life coaches to teach me how to build a coaching business, and they didn't follow any of their tactics, by the way, I kept failing. I would try to market like a 12-week goal setting course, and I would spend 6 months and I get 3 people to sign up for the package, and I'd charge them like $2,000. they would do 3 sessions and then never show up again. And yay, I made $3,000, but I saw the person 3 times. I mean, that's not right. But I find when I sign them up for coaching and they pay as they go, I see them for just as long, but it's what they need then. And then I can change the program. We can change courses. We can figure out what's the right fit for them. We can change directions. We can add, we can subtract. And with that in mind, then they're in a good place. They like what I'm doing. So then what happens? They become my biggest fan. And by becoming my biggest fan, they become my biggest champion. And so then they're like, hey, I got this guy. He's Mike. He's great. He's a great life coach. He'll see you. You don't have to do any of those like coaching programs. You just sign up. He'll walk you through everything. And if you don't like it, you don't have to continue. And so I have referrals coming out of my ears. It's great. Why would I want that? Why do I want to have to do Facebook advertising to try to sell a program when I can build a business where I have people selling my practice for me because I do what's right by them? So they want to always be like, hey, you're in trouble? Call my life coach. He's great.
So do a lot of people that are in business that work with you sort of take that into their business where they're trying to not lock people in, but give people what they need and work with them one-on-one in terms of not just selling them a package? Do they sort of take what they learn from you and apply that a lot of times?
Well, I don't know if anybody's doing, I don't think any of my clients are coaches right now. I have had 2 other clients that I've coached on how to build a coaching business. Yeah, and they do what I do and they're successful. But most of the clients I have aren't doing what I'm doing, or if they are, it's because they're a doctor or a therapist, and that's the standard that they follow. That's just normal. Like you pay for what you want. You don't pay for a hypothetical down the road.
So in terms of results, have you seen like people that have had dramatic turnarounds in your practice?
Yes, I've had people, and no, I've had people who I have worked really hard for a really long time, and I have been like, I've had to end the relationship because nothing seems to be working for them, and I put them into a different program and pointing them in a different direction. And I've had people who have had tremendous success in life and made major breakthroughs. It's not just me, but the person. Coaching's a relationship. So if the individual is going to do the work, then you, the coach, are going to transform the individual. But if the individual is unable to break through patterns, there's only so much you can do.
So where can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you?
Great question. If they go to my website, elevatelifeproject.com, you can see that's where everything is. That's my entire ecosphere. They can take a quiz called the Life Purpose Quiz to figure out their purpose in life. They can check out my coaching videos, my coaching articles. They can sign up for my newsletter where they'll get access to my bi-monthly webinars on different topics. I just did one on how to declutter your mind, and the one before that was on self-acceptance. All on my website, elevatelifeproject.com.
Is there like a final word you'd like to leave with the audience?
Yeah, man. Aim higher. Elevate your life.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on today. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it.
I really want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to give value back. I want to see lives transformed. That's always been my goal, whether it's with my writing, this podcast, or the online courses that I teach. I want to make a difference. So what I've decided to do is every first and third Friday of the month, I'm going to be offering 3 of my most popular ebooks absolutely free. You can go to Amazon on those Fridays and get them absolutely free. Also, on October 28th of this month, 2022, you can get these 3 copies free as well. You can receive Walk as Children of the Light, Heaven's Truth, or Meditation for Everyone on the first and Friday of every month on Amazon for free. See the link below for these books. And after you read them, you can help share in this blessing as well. Pass it on to your friends. Tell your friends about these 3 books. Write a review. Writing a review can actually help because it not only helps me, but it helps Amazon to put the book out there to more people.